Hey, what's going on, guys? It's zMetapod here. Welcome back to the channel, and thank you for joining me for episode 5 of our So You Want to Use Commander series, where we go over all commanders and help you figure out how to best utilize them in the game Rise to War. In today's 5th episode, we're going to be looking at our first legendary commander, Frodo and Sam. Alright guys, so like I said, today's episode is all about Frodo and Sam. But before we start, if you're enjoying the series or any other content I'm putting out, please consider subscribing. I'm trying to hit my first goal of 100 subscribers before the start of September. So please, if you aren't subbed yet, it only takes 1 second to hit that sub button and it motivates me to keep putting out Rise to War content. But now with all that out of the way, let's get into today's commander, Frodo and Sam. Okay, so as always, let's start off with Frodo and Sam's skills. Their first skill is Master of Bag End. Damage received by the commander's formation is minus 30%. So they're receiving 30% less damage, but the damage that their formation does is minus 20% as well. So it just makes them a lot more tanky without being able to put out that much damage in return. At level 5, the damage dealt reduction is actually reduced to only 10%. So you're able to you're receiving 30% less damage for only a minus 10% damage reduction for your formation, which I'd say is a pretty great trade-off. And of course, at level 10, your unit defense is plus 5. Next, the Harfoot's skill. Initiative during combat is plus 8. At level 5, you have a march speed of plus 30%. And at level 10, you have plus 8 initiative and commander defense plus 8. So Harfoot's skill as a whole is really bad for PvP, but because of the army march speed, if you're not using Frodo and Sam in your formation, I would just recommend using them to move troops around the map a lot quicker, using them to increase fort ranges and whatnot, reinforcing your troops in fortresses and forts as well. It's a great way to do that much faster if you use them in that way. All right, our next skill is going to be Hobbit Adventurer. So the attack of man, elf, dwarf, hobbit, beasts, or ents units in 2 allied formations is plus 12, and this is modified by the command stat. So for every 100 command, it's plus 3. At level 5, this affects 4 formations. And at level 10, the unit HP is up plus 10%. And last but not least, we have Ring Bearers. The commander's formation's unit has a 35% chance to evade damage taken, but the commander has a 25% chance to succumb to madness each round. But if you even get the skill to level 5, you no longer have to worry about madness because it doesn't inflict madness on the commanders anymore. But at level 10, the damage stat is also going to go up plus 5%. So this again is really good for a tanky formation. Looking at the 4 skills that Frodo and Sam have, it's obvious the 2 that you really want to put into is Master of Bag End and Ring Bearers. So because of this, they are going to be a full-on tank formation. They are not going to do damage. They're just going to take in all the damage for your army, so that way your damage dealers can do more damage. So of course, you're going to want to max out Master of Bag End probably first, because the damage reduction is more important than the 35% evade. But then after that, you're going to want to go 10 points into Ring Bearers, and then whatever you have left, go into Hobbit Adventurer. We don't want anything into Harfoots, because like I said again, it's a really bad PvP skill. Alright, so now that we know what kind of skills we want to use with Frodo and Sam, let's give them the gear that they need to be as tanky as they possibly can. So for the gear for Frodo and Sam, because we want to make them as tanky as possible, for gold gear, we're going to start off with our gold weapon, the Reckoning, as it gives the most command and unit defense. Next, for helmet, the Cask of the Submerged Isle, also great command and great unit defense. For chest plate, we're going to be using the Elven Hauberk as it gives the most unit defense. And finally, for the accessory, we're going to be using the Silver Harp of Rivendell as it gives great unit defense and command. For purple gear, we're going to be focusing on the Cutlass as it gives the most command and unit defense. Horseman's Helm again, best command, best unit defense. The Superior Hauberk gives the best unit defense. And the Drums of Moria, of course, give the best command and unit defense. So, as I keep saying, they are a tank formation. They need as much unit defense as possible to continue to survive to take in all that damage for your formation, for your army, so that way they can do all the damage while Frodo and Sam just takes in everything. All right, guys, continuing on with their gear, we definitely need to be looking to get them their sets if you are able to. So, of course, the best ones are going to be for defense. We want defensive sets for these guys to be as tanky as possible. So, the sets we're looking at here, of course, are going to be the blue ones. Red ones mean damage. Remember that. So, blue, thick armor for the defense, fortitude for damage negation, evasive action for damage negation, and of course, divide and conquer for that continued damage negation as well. So, yeah, those are definitely the best sets. A combination of them also work. But yeah, those are the best sets for Frodo and Sam. All right, guys. So now let's take a look at Frodo and Sam's relic together. So their relic is Star Glass, as you can see from the movie. It looks beautiful. All right, let's see what it does. So the commander HP is plus 215, commander defense plus 4, commander initiative plus 2, and unit defense plus 5. So okay stats overall. Good for defense, but HP is not the best. You'd rather have command, but it is what it is. All right, so now the ability on it. True Courage. In the first 2 rounds, this formation has a 11.7% chance to evade all damage when the enemy army includes orcs. So keep in mind, this is only if the enemy army has orcs, which I'd have to say evil men like chariots and whatnot are more popular, so there's a good chance they won't have orcs, so it might not be that great to begin with. Also, remember, they already have an evade skill with ring bearers, so I'm actually not sure how this is able to work with that. I don't know if they override each other, what kind of problems that could have. So actually, let me show you guys something real quick. Okay, guys, so this is a Discord server, Gore's Commander Guides. It's very good for anything Rise to War if you want to know something about commanders, talk to people, have some questions. So yeah, I would really highly recommend if you're not in this server yet to come on in. People are more than happy to help you a lot of times. They have a lot of information. Some of it even I don't understand, like these tools and calculators. Gosh, that's way over my head. But just in general, a great server if you're playing Rise to War. So I was looking at Frodo and Sam and I wanted to see exactly what they said possibly about the relic. So it actually says, do not unlock or refine. Its evasion is not compatible with ring bearers. So that means that the relic's evasion does not go well with ring bearers. I don't know what that means as a whole. I don't know exactly how it coincides with each other, what problems occur. And I actually tried to ask in the server, like, does anyone know what exactly happens? But no one responded to my questions, so maybe just no one has the relic unlocked to begin with. So if you actually know the answer, please let me know in the comments down below and I'll pin your comment so people can kind of see how it actually works against each other because that's pretty important to know because maybe you do want the stats, so you do want to unlock the relic, but because of what it says here, it's probably best just to avoid the relic altogether. But yeah, so with that, let's just get back right into the game and let's finish up on the relic here. But yeah, even though what it says, if you look closely all the way, I mean, if you max this out, it's 70% evade of all damage when the army includes orcs, which is pretty good. But like I said, because it has some sort of issues with ring bearers, it's probably best just to not even get this at all. But yeah, that being said, that was their Relic Starglass. We have Frodo and Sam skilled. Now have their tank gear as well. So in that case, what units are going to be best to put on them to be able to be most effective in their army? So first of all, the best unit, I think there are 2 main units I think they can use to really be effective. Number 1 would be Swan Knights, as they have the protection skills, and so they bring in a lot of damage and protect some of your other formations in your army. And then you could also run Great Beasts if you're playing NRP, because Great Beasts bring in everything as well to hit them. So that way, the rest of your army is not really taking any damage. Meanwhile, Frodo and Sam are absorbing as much damage, and then with the minus 30% damage negation that they're getting, they're going to be staying alive a long time, allowing for your damage dealers to really do a lot for your army. So yeah, for sure, Swan Knights and Great Beasts are the way to go. As always, let's go in to see how other people are actually using Frodo and Sam in their campaigns. So go to walkthrough, recommended lined up, go down here, and Frodo and Sam, but let's change it to 5 plus here. All right, so here's what we got. Let's look at what Percy's working with. So yeah, as you can see, it's a season 1 character and he is going kind of more towards the support side. I do disagree with maxing this first. I think the initial just damage reduction is better than the evasion because this is guaranteed, this is not. So I would always recommend going first into the damage negation first before you go into the evasion. But this player has decided to go more for the evasion, so that's his own choice. All right, let's go into one. Oh, let's look at this one. This one's Zenith. So, yeah, like I said, I think one of the best units to use is the Swan Knights, so you can absorb all of that damage. As you can see, full on defensive with evasive action. He is going full on defense with Frodo and Sam. And because they're so tanky, purple gear works great. They are very good for free to play. You don't need gold gear to be successful with Frodo and Sam. You can just straight up use purple gear and be just fine and be competitive because they take so much reduced damage and they have good evasion as well. So yeah, that is a great Frodo and Sam right here. All right, and I do have one more to show you guys from one of my teammates in my season 2, so I'll be right back with his build. All right, guys, so for the last Frodo and Sam we're going to be looking at, we're actually going to go into my season 2 and look at one of my teammates' Frodo and Sam's that they were so kind enough to share with me. So shout out to Minato TR for showing me his Frodo and Sam. So as you can see, this is our season 2. So this is my alt account and this is a season 2. So he's only got them at respect 3. That's perfectly fine. Like I said, Frodo and Sam are great for low spenders or free to plays, just because they don't take a whole lot of respect to really get going and be useful. So as you can see, the gear is almost perfect. He did say he does not have any drums of Moria right now to use, but the Hobbit Fiddle is a great backup, and he's got great sets here with thick armor and evasive action to even negate that damage even more. And as you can see, he's got 10 out of 10 into Master of Bag for that minus 30% damage received. And then because he does not have Ring Bearers unlocked yet, because he's Respect 3, he has put the rest of his points into Hobbit Adventure, which is very nice. All right, and then he also sent me a report to see how they kind of go into action here. So he fought a level 10 tile, and as you can see, Frodo and Sam didn't take much damage at all. They did not take barely any damage, so they were doing their job of just being a tank. So he does not have the right troops yet, but that'll come later down the season. But even as still, they're just a great tank. All right, and as you can see again, here again, barely taking any damage here. Unfortunately, Dwalin's still getting hit because he does not have the correct units, but once he has those units, it will be very good for his formation. So yeah, shout out to Minato again for showing me his Frodo and Sam, and that's going to do it with looking at the other characters. All right, so with that, that's going to be all we have for Frodo and Sam today. So with that, let's go put them on our tier list. So I'll see you guys there. All right, guys, welcome back to our tier list for our commanders. So, in the last episode, we talked about Auglurg and how he is a fun and interesting commander. The reason being because he's a very flexible commander. He can do commander damage, he can be troop unit damage, or he can just be a tank. He can do 3 different things all in one, so because of that, he's fun and interesting. But now, Frodo and Sam, where do we want to put them on the tier list today? So, when thinking about Frodo and Sam, in terms of being a tank, I do not think there is a character in the game better than Frodo and Sam. But the only thing is that all they do is provide, all they just do is absorb damage. So they're not really doing any damage out at all. And because of that, they are not meta. They are definitely not meta. There are better options, but I would say they're very good. I see them a lot on B teams in all of my campaigns. So they may not make the A team for a lot of people, but if you don't have like those high-end meta commanders, Frodo and Sam are a great second option, just because they will absorb so much damage and almost always give you a draw, even if you're not a big spender. Like they're just that good. They're so free to play friendly that I would almost always recommend you use Frodo and Sam if you don't spend. All right, guys. So with that, that's going to be the end of our tier list for today. So let's go ahead and go on to the Wheel of Choices to figure out who's going to be in episode 6. And again, I'll see you guys there. Welcome back to our Wheel of Choices. So, as you can see, we have 70 commanders left. We're really pushing it. Like, we've gotten through, well, we've already gotten through 5. So, we're going on to number 6 now. So, who is going to be the next commander that we do in episode 6? So, let's give it a spin. We haven't had, so, well, actually, we've had a pretty good half and half for good and evil side commanders. So, I'm curious what it's going to be. Oh, it's going to be Khaldun. Very interesting. The shell of his former self from 1.0. Well, guys, be looking forward to Khaldun in the next episode of So You Want to Use Commander Series. So before we go, guys, if you enjoy the content, if you've enjoyed what I've been doing, don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out a lot. And just overall, again, thank you guys so much for the support. This has been a ton of fun, and I love being able to expand my knowledge of commanders by doing this as well. And of course, tell me your thoughts in the comments. Do you agree with my tier list? Are you excited for the next commander? Just let me know. Like, tell me any good memories you might have with Khaldun from 1.0, because we know he's not the same guy. So I can't wait to be able to connect with you all. And with that, this was zMetapod, and I'll see you in the next one. I'm out.